What's up everybody, this is Raza and this is a new series I'm going to be running on my channel, and this is going to be using Meteora, and this is going to be running from 50 Solana up to ideally as high as I can, but most likely somewhere around 200. Of course, we did just complete the 1 Solana to 100 Solana challenge just a few weeks ago. I had a little bit of a break and did start this new challenge, and we have already run it up to 63 Solana. And I did a much better job at documenting these calls. So you should see my starting balance on the screen right now. And what I'll do is I'll have a ticker and a counter for every trade I do. And you can join the Telegram or the Discord as I'm going live as well, but also trying to post a lot more of my plays. So going through here, you can see a lot of them and my exact positions. So for this first set of positions, I have allocated 35 of the Solana of the 50. And you can see I'm in 3 pools: Worm, Project 89, and WMM. They are all AI related in some way, but a few of these are quite unique. WMM has the unique kind of memes which are created, and it's already kind of formed a bit of a cult on Twitter. I see a lot of the posts on there, and there is quite a lot of, I mean, in my opinion, kind of smart wallets accumulating some, but the coin hasn't really broken out yet and has just been ranging. I'm going to open the chart just so you can see what I'm looking at. And, I am tempted to also maybe go 50-50, but I have been one-sided most of the time. This is what it looks like, and it's been going sideways for a while now. I'm going to put the time frame back. And you can see, literally for days, I imagine if you just had this range set, you could have printed a lot of Solana. Right now, though, I simply have this curve set up. It's not giving me much right now. You can see I've already had quite a lot of fees from it. Probably what would be good to do is put a bit of spot over it as well. Then next up we have Worm, once again a unique token with the worm moving on the blockchain, I think when transactions are made or something. Seemed quite a cool concept. So I have a bit more Solana in this. You can see I actually have 15 Solana deposited, and I've already printed almost 1 Solana with this kind of curve. So it was 10 Solana bid ask with 5 spot on top, and it moved down a bit and it's now moved back up. Pretty good fees. I'm hoping this token ranges for a bit longer. And finally, there's this Project 89, which is another AI coin, but it seems to have taken off quite well, while a lot of others have gone down. There has been a bit of a recovery today. I don't really know too much about this token. I did pull it overnight the other day and printed quite a lot. Looks like my range from 5.4 to 7.99. Let me set that up. Pretty about there. So preparing for a pullback. I don't really want to be buying tokens hoping the token goes to 50 million, because there's no guarantee of any of that. So it is actually the next day, and I left these on overnight, and it is the weekend. This is a Sunday right now, so I haven't been actively trading. I pretty much just left these, went about my days. I know there's been a few other tokens launched which have done quite well and probably had an opportunity to make a lot of money, but I didn't really want to get involved with them. I do have some fees. I also sized down the positions a bit, but there's only 3 positions open right now, and we do have 30 Solana out, so under half of the full balance deposited. I could have opened, if I was actively managing, probably I would leave these with these amounts, probably up them a little bit, and then have 2 other pools of some more highly volatile coins. But we got some fees from this one, and so I'm guessing we had a dip and a bit more of a pump. I think this coin's I think this coin will, in the end, have a big pump at some point, but like that's over 1 Solana of fees, and this is a 10 Solana position, and I've already had this open and claimed a lot of fees from it as well. That's good. I'm going to leave that running actually. Looks like Worm is actually a bit further down our curve, so a bit more potentially risky right now, but I'm going to leave it running as well, claim those fees. For this one, I've actually got a much smaller deposit, so these fees are 1 Solana. This is pretty much guaranteeing, even if we drop to the bottom, I'm not taking a loss overall. Probably sell off those fees. And then the same with this Project 89. Actually, so we had a bit more of a dip, came back, and we have another 1 Solana of fees again. So for another update, I closed out a few of those pools because, the whole market, most of the prices have been going down a lot. And you saw I already downsized a lot of them, but I just ended up closing them out. All of them profitable, which is good, but eating some impermanent loss, which isn't ideal. So the last one I actually closed out was WMM, and I had the most in this, and it did dump overnight, so it went straight out my range. My range actually closed out at about 8 million, and it dumped all the way to 5 million. I woke up and I saw this. I'd have been up a lot of profit in this episode already, about 5 Solana, if I closed out there, but it kept going. So I closed it. It said minus $150 overall, but I did print $500 in fees. But then I waited, and the price pumped back up to 7.8 million. Didn't sell. Then it got back up again, and I did sell most of my my tokens. Still got a little bit. We'll see what happens with the price. I'm either going to sell at the bottom probably, or I'm going to double down right here and wait for it to come back up. Another news though, so that does put us on, overall I'm on about 53 Solana right now, so +3. But next up, I'm in this grass pool, and it's pretty hard to monitor price. I already sold my allocation in other wallets and just had this running with 5 bins total in a 400 bin pool. So you don't really notice the impermanent loss, even though it does creep up on you. And you can see my fees so far stacking up nicely. So hopefully it ranges for a bit longer. I'm going to have to close this out because a dump is pretty likely with something like this. Pretty hard to monitor the chart, but you can see, yeah, it's pretty much been going sideways for a little bit here. 700 million FDV. You know, I'm not super bullish on this token, and I think it is going to slowly bleed out. So I will probably prepare to close this out and maybe make a new pool. So I closed that out, and I've actually moved pools to the 50 bin 0.4%. So this is a very narrow range. 0.35 to 0.05 is quite narrow, even though I'm using the full range. And this just means it moves a lot. You can see how much it's jumping. You might have not been in a 50 bin pool yourself, but even with the low fee, so the fees are very low, I can still get some fees. But you got to be quite quick in and out with these. If I wait too long, I'm pretty sure this is going to dump out the bottom. Okay, so for an update, we have upped the deposit. So remember, we were in the other pool first time. Now we've moved over to this one. This is a 10 sol position in a quite narrow range in a 50 bin pool. What I'm just hoping for is this token ranges for a bit in whatever kind of range this is. Because it's it's a real token, it's not a meme coin. That's why I'm okay kind of putting this amount. Doesn't mean it won't dump out when maybe more people can claim. So I'm staying kind of vigilant watching it. But hopefully, I guess a kind of number which would be quite nice would be maybe $300 in fees, maybe 500. I think if I went in earlier with this kind of size, we could be looking at 1 to 2k. But I feel like maybe I've missed the boat for the kind of larger print off the initial token drop. Okay, so this is an update. This is the next day, but I did close that pool out shortly after. And you can see my fees are $320. We did up the deposit, went narrow, and it actually ended up pumping out last night, which is pretty crazy. We were down here and it went up. Then I just closed out. The fees aren't amazing, and you did have to concentrate a lot in a narrow range. You could still do that now, but I'm just going to leave it. So we did get more fees out of that. Now, then after that, we did actually go in a new pool, and I did call it in the Telegram, so no one can come at me for, you know, not sharing the plays, since this is a kind of semi-public challenge. And we're in this Lucy coin, which is kind of made after the church kind of released this as their mascot. And you can see I have $333 in fees, so it's not actually an amazing amount of fees. I mean, it's decent when you're just consistent. You get fees in every pool. We were just doing one-sided Solana, and I was not in this range. I just drew that now. I was actually pooling last night all this area with the one-sided bid ask. So I was doing this with my laptop instead, and I did catch that drop and that pump. I did catch one of these ones actually right down here, I think, and a dip and a pump there, there, and there. Maybe a little one there, but I wasn't able to get an insane print, and literally all I was doing, someone reversed this pool for some reason, so I have to click on this Lucy here to see it correctly. And I basically had like 8 sol like that in a bid ask. I just did the whole range, as you know, you never know how far these things are going to drop down. And I just did 69. I added liquidity, and it would go down a bit and go back up. And I would also, on top of that, after making it, I would do 2 sol spot on top. So I still get some more fees at the upper range. And that's how much I managed to farm doing that. Did not want to leave it overnight. Something like this, it's just been too risky. You know, I've lost, you know, more times than not. These new tokens just drop straight out overnight. But that brings us to today, and I just opened this position. I woke up, you know, I just read someone in the Goose DAO posted this, so I just made the position. Didn't think too much, just 1 Solana of tokens and 1 Solana on the bottom side, and it looks like the token has just kept on pumping. So I bought around here, and it dropped down. So, you know, and then it's just pumped straight up almost. It's pumped up over 100%, I think. So, you know, looking at this, maybe it would have been a much better idea to just buy the tokens and just hold them. But, you know, you never really know. So it looks like I'm almost out of range with all these pumps. But, you know, we've got a decent amount of fees, about 0.2 there. And we're getting a ton of token profit as well, since this is a 200 bin pool. And the token has pumped like 100%. So, I mean, I guess I'll close this out once we get to the top. And it looks like volume is picking up as well. So maybe we can do some larger positions with some bid asks, trying to just catch some little dumps on it. Or the other option is potentially, obviously, buy more tokens. But for that, I'm going to have to read more into the coin. And I did share this one as well. So I just closed that position out, and you can see I've got $100 fees. Even with that tiny position for my balance, it was only 2.2 Solana with my 57 Sol balance. And, you know, I bought some tokens. It went up, then I had a big retracement. It's come back up. I just closed it out. And this is my overall position. So it's that one you saw earlier. Pretty good percent profit. In for a while. Some decent fees. You know, probably should have bought 2 Sol. And I mean, I doubt I'd have gone too heavy on this. But, you know, could have easily doubled up the amounts I did there and not felt too bad, even if it did start dumping a bit. So I've got a few fees still. I'm just going to hold them. You know, this is the point where, you know, I might look at re-entering maybe with a bit of a bigger position now. So I did end up going back into that fridge position. So what happened is I made the bid ask. Like I said, the token went straight down. It looked like I was actually going to have a loss, but then an influencer, Mitch, I draw line ball, and it pumped straight back and had loads of fees in the process. And then I sold half my tokens and just made this new 50-50, and I've been making some fees from this. But at the same time, the test Magic Eden token has launched. So this is kind of a test to test how the technology works for the release of their proper Magic Eden token. And it's just been released to the public, and pretty difficult to look at the chart. But it just went public and it pumped straight away. I did get around $100 myself of tokens, and I've made this curve as well on the other wallet. I'm going to try and make some fees from this. I'm actually going to go a bit narrower, so I'm going to go put 2 there, go like this, like that, I think, because this thing seems to print in a very narrow range. I'm just going to drop 1 bin so I don't get arbitraged either. Okay, so this is the last trade of the episode, and my Solana's a bit similar to the last episode. So I was on about 60 before, or slightly under that actually, and now I'm actually on about 63.5 total. So I did a bunch of trades, but I wasn't at my PC, and right now I'm just in this bull position. So the election has just happened. No coins really took off. The meme coin market didn't react too much anyway, but I've been in this bull coin. You can see I've already generated a lot of fees. And I actually managed to call this one with my first position. So I go down. I mentioned the Discord I was actually going to be live streaming my position, which I did do. But what I did was I went one-sided, and it was just a spot position with around 3 to 5 Sol. I ranged for a bit, made lots of fees. Then it just dumped, went straight down from 4 million all the way to 800k. I cut some losses around here, but overall I was still up. But then I did take like a 1 Solana loss. Then I DLMM this range, I had a $150 profit, and now I'm just sat in this new curve, which is kind of from there to there, as you can see, with a very small amount, basically just a few of my fees, and that is just racking up some kind of extra fees.